Hey guys, it's Miss Carla. Um, I want to start off with hoping that you're having a great start to your week and that you're doing all right. I can't believe that this is week 6 of online learning. Um, I also want to apologize if you hear any noises in the background. My dog might bark, my parakeet might tweet. My daughter's playing outside right now with her neighbor friend. Um, and they might come in and that might be noisy. But let's just hope we don't get interrupted. So we are done reading Iqbal. And if you haven't submitted your summary of Iqbal yet, please make sure you do that as soon as you can. Remember, we're being really flexible during this online learning experience, but I would like you to try your best to get your work done if you can. And also remember, you can always ask for help. So we're done with reading the book, and now we're going to move into learning how to write an academic paper. This is a really important skill for you to have for when you transition back to a middle school and then for going on to high school and beyond. The skills you'll learn in writing an essay translate into all kinds of different jobs that you might be thinking of having. Being able to write well and communicate your thoughts in writing is a really important skill. And if this is your first essay ever, don't worry. It's okay if it's not perfect because there's no such thing as perfect. I just want you to try. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is pre-write. Before we really get into planning out and looking at what makes a great paragraph and a great essay, we need to start by building up the bones of our ideas. So the first thing we're going to do here is look at the unit guiding question. What are the main causes of inequality in the developing and developed world? So what causes some countries to be wealthy and have healthy citizens and happy citizens? And what causes other countries to be very poor and on the brink of starvation? Why is there that inequality in our world? Hopefully, after reading Iqbal and the deep dive you've done in social studies with Miss Stacy, you have some ideas. We watched some videos in my class as well, so feel free to go back to those or even just look up your own. But the more important question, the one I'm really interested in knowing your thoughts, is we know this inequality exists and there are a lot of reasons for it. But what do you think the top 3 human rights are that could or would help to equalize humanity? If you could wave a magic wand and give 3 human rights to everybody in the world, what would those be? And it's a hard choice. I definitely know that I'm asking a hard question, but I know you can do this. So when we pick apart a prompt, we want to think about what's called TAPP first. And TAPP stands for topic, audience, purpose, and plan. And I'm just going to do this one for you guys so you kind of get an idea for the process. So our topic is the top 3 human rights that would equalize humanity. Oh, and I'm getting over a cold, so excuse my congestion. Our audience, well, your audience is going to be me, Miss Carla, and I'm also going to be inviting some community members, people throughout our community that are strong writers and advocates for human rights and peace and justice work to read your papers and give you feedback. I will take your name off the paper so that you are, your identity is safe. And then I'd love to have a Zoom meeting where people could have kind of a Socratic seminar or discussion with these community members about your ideas. The purpose, we're going to go into depth about this in a second, but every author has a purpose for their writing, and you guys are authors. So your purpose for this paper is to explain. And when we explain, our plan is going to be a what, why, t-chart. Okay, I'll go into more detail on that in just a moment. To help you brainstorm, I put a link here to the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's kind of like a constitution that the UN created, the United Nations. And here's what it looks like. So it's got a preamble, just like our Constitution, and then it has each one of these articles here. It dives into a specific human right, like all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And so then you have everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Like we have the pursuit of happiness in our Constitution. There's a lot here, you know, not being subjected to slavery or discrimination or arbitrary arrest. That means like being arrested for no reason. Freedom of movement, which is kind of interesting because we don't really have that right now because of the coronavirus. That's kind of an interesting one to think about. So look through this, the right to having your own religion, entitled to equal rights in a marriage. There's so many things to consider. I know the biggest one for me that stands out in Iqbal is that children should not be no one should be subjected to slavery, but especially not children. And that children should be guaranteed an education, that should be a human right. So check this out for help with brainstorming what you think your top human rights are. Maybe at this point, since we've been kind of like doing it along the way, maybe you already know what your top 3 are. You're going to list your top 3 in each of these rows. And then on the other side of this, you're going to tell me why or how it will help to equalize humanity. So again, what human right? So be specific here. Which human right do you think is the most important 3? Or which human rights are the most important 3? And then why, how will it help to equalize humanity? Okay, I'll come back to this, but first I want to talk about author's purpose. And I want to show you how we can plan the different types of author's purpose. So there are 5 specific reasons that authors write. We really boil it down to the most essential topics. We have the purpose of to describe, to instruct, to tell a story, to explain, or to persuade. So those are the 5. And actually they start off with the simplest to write and go all the way down to the most complex. You probably in elementary school did a lot of descriptive writing where maybe you described a pet or described your favorite food. And then you go on to when you're in like 3rd through 5th grade, your teachers usually give you, write directions out to your favorite recipe or write out how to fold a towel. I know my teacher did that. And then to tell a story, we do a lot of story writing. We read The Forest of Hands and Teeth. But once we get into middle school and high school, we start to bump it up and expect you to take on the ability to explain something, like how and why something is a good solution or how it works. And then persuading, which we will do at the very end of the year. Okay, so when you describe something, it might look like any of these examples, a really specific scientific breakdown of the eye. Here is describing all of the parts, or a brochure to a vacation getaway. anything that describes all of the features. And when we describe, we plan our writing with this web. I think it kind of looks like a weird little alien paw print thing. But we could describe Sebesky Academy, right? You can describe anything. So you put the main topic in here, and then you have the 3 main features of that thing or place or person or whatever. And then you can go into more detail, right? So that is description. To instruct is very scientific. It's very, there's a lot of steps involved. You think like how to put a piece of furniture together from IKEA. They need better instruction writers in their instruction writing department, in my opinion, or how to make a sandwich or any kind of recipe, or how to create a model. And then this is how we would plan instructions. So you would have step 1, step 2, and so on. To tell a story, we really spent the first half of the year in narratives and the Forest of Hands and Teeth and talking about zombies. To tell a story is really fun. You can also put history into this umbrella because history is a story of what happened in the past. So when we plan stories, we can either use a timeline like this, or we can use a plot line like we created when we plotted out the story of the Forest of Hands and Teeth. Now here is where we are. We are at to explain. And explanation is really fun because not only are you describing the thing, you're telling why or how that thing works. So you could explain the water cycle. You could explain how yoga is a good workout or how it's not a good workout. You could explain the life cycle of a frog, or as we're going to be doing, you can explain what the top 3 human rights are and how they could help equalize society. So when you think about explaining something to someone, you have to tell them what, and then you have to tell them the why and how. And then persuasion, like I said, we'll get to this at the very end of the year. I hope we can fit this in. Advertisements, political pieces, debates, things of that nature are persuasion. And to plan persuasion, you have an argument and an evidence. For every argument you make, you need to back it up with evidence to give yourself that believability. And we'll talk more about that later, so don't worry about that. But again, here's why authors write: to describe, to instruct, to tell a story, to explain, or to persuade. And again, we are explaining. So all you have to do today, I've already filled out the TAPP for you. All I want you to do is start putting down onto paper, well, digital paper, on Google Doc, what you think the top 3 human rights are. Put those here, and then why or how you think these will help to equalize humanity. If you have any questions, please reach out. I love talking with you guys and helping you through this. And we're going to take this essay writing step by step. And if I ever go too fast or assign too much, remember that you can take a couple days to do something, or just tell me, hey, probably need to slow down, because if you're feeling that way, then other people probably feel that way, and just let me know if I'm going too fast. All right, so I miss you guys. Have a great day, and I can't wait to see your thinking on your plan. All right. Okay, sorry, I couldn't find the pause button. Bye, guys.